It's Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. Biden does his best Trump impression. The Republican Party platform is missing something, and bad times at Boeing. Next on the AM Update. Tell me if this sounds familiar. An older gentleman calls into his favorite cable news program on the phone and goes on a lengthy, rambling rant. Here's Joe Biden yesterday on MSNBC.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance. Number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party who they know so much more. But if any of these guys don't think I should run against me, go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Old man yells at cable news hosts. He continued on.
I'm not letting up, Joe. I am not letting up a little bit. And by the way, France registered, look, you talk about Europe.
Well said indeed. Before that interview yesterday, Biden released a letter to congressional Democrats and stood firm against calls for him to drop his re-election candidacy. As anxious congressional Democrats returned to Washington weighing whether to work to revive his campaign or try to edge him out, Biden sent that letter aiming to silence their skepticism of his fitness to lead the country for another 4 years. Biden wrote in the two-page letter that, quote, "The question of how to move forward has been well aired for over a week now, and it's time for it to end. We have 42 days to the Democratic Convention and 119 days to the general election." Yesterday at the White House, the press room was thrown into disarray as Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about a news report that detailed how an expert on Parkinson's disease visited the White House 8 times in 8 months. Here's what that exchange sounded like.
We provide to all of you.
That's a very basic, direct question.
Wait. Hold on. Wait a second.
Eight times, or at least once, in regards to the president specifically.
Hold on a second.
Not what you should be able to answer by this point.
Wait, no. No, wait a minute. Ed, please. A little respect here, please. So, every year, around the president's physical examination, he sees a neurologist. That's 3 times, right? So I am telling you that he has seen a neurologist 3 times while he has been in this presidency. That's what I'm saying. I am telling you that he has seen them 3 times. That is what I'm sharing with you, right? So every time he has a physical, he has had to see a neurologist.
Not just any neurologist. We're talking about one of the nation's foremost experts on Parkinson's disease.
Kevin Kennard, come to the White House.
But I also said to you, Ed, for security reasons, we cannot share names. We have to.
Others he would have met with.
We cannot.
You can share names in regards to if someone came here in regards to the president.
We cannot share names of specialists broadly, from a dermatologist to a neurologist. We cannot share names. There are security reasons. We have to protect. I understand that.
What a freaking disaster. Just answer the question. Was there a Parkinson's disease expert who visited the White House or not? Karine Jean-Pierre can't give a straight answer. Also news yesterday, House Democrats launched a united effort along with the White House to vote against a Republican-backed election bill that would require voters provide proof of citizenship to cast ballots in federal elections. Republicans are pushing the passage of the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, otherwise known as the SAVE Act, which would amend the National Voter Registration Act and require states to obtain proof of citizenship from voters for federal elections, as well as purge non-citizens from voter rolls. Democratic leadership is urging its House members to vote against the bill in the lead up to the vote, saying it would be in place, quote, an extreme burden on countless Americans in order to vote. We're talking about citizens versus non-citizens. This act, the SAVE Act, shouldn't even be necessary to begin with. Non-citizens cannot vote. That just tells you once again why we've seen the influx of illegal immigration into this country over the last 4 years. It was never any bones about it, never any mystery shrouding it. It was never just incompetency. It was malevolence. They want those people to vote, and they're telling you that now. Well, we do have now the much ballyhooed Republican National Committee platform, which was just adopted yesterday. It's 20 items long. There's something missing. 20 items and there's something missing. I'm going to read each item for you. Number 1, this is the RNC platform. Number 1, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Number 2, carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Number 3, end inflation and make America affordable again. Number 4, make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Number 5, stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Number 6, large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Number 7, defend our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. Number 8, prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our entire country, all made in America. Number 9, end the weaponization of government against the American people. Number 10, stop the migrant crime epidemic, demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. Number 11, rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Number 12, strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world. Number 13, keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Number 14, fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Number 15, cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Number 17, keep men out of women's sports. Number 18, deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Number 19, secure our election, including same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. And number 20, unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. Again, that's the RNC platform that was just passed out of committee yesterday. There is one thing missing, and I think you could guess what's missing. In fact, two of the maybe foremost contenders for Trump's vice presidential nomination, two senators, one J.D. Vance from Ohio and Marco Rubio from Florida, kind of telegraphed what was missing from the RNC platform in recent days. Here's J.D. Vance on Meet the Press.
On the question of the abortion pill, what so many of us have said is that, look, we certainly don't, the Supreme Court made a decision saying that the American people should have access to that medication. Donald Trump has supported that opinion. I support that opinion. I think it's important to say that we actually have to have an important conversation in this country about what our abortion policy should be. Donald Trump is the pragmatic leader here. He's saying most abortion policy is going to be decided by the states. We want to make it easier and more affordable for young women and parents to have families to begin with. We want to lower housing costs, eliminate those surprise medical bills that so many families see after they have a baby. That's the Trump and Republican approach to this issue.
So we're going to voice our full-throated support of the abortion pill, the baby-killing pill, which accounts for the murders of 2/3 of murdered babies via abortion. That's the Republican and Donald Trump position there. And then here's Marco Rubio on CNN's State of the Union in recent days.
Well, I think our platform has to reflect our nominee. And our nominee's position actually happens to be one grounded in reality. The reality of it is the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and what that basically means is that now it's not states, it's voters at individual states who will get to decide how and to what level they want to restrict abortion, if at all. Some states will have restrictions, some states will not. And so I hope that our platform will reflect our nominee. I also think it's important to remember the Democrats.
Blah, 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 blah. That's not an anti-abortion position. That's not even a pro-life position. The voters don't get to decide what is and is not a human life. If you're surrendering on that foundational principle about this issue, you're surrendering on everything, everything else. It's extremely disappointing, but not surprising. Josh Hawley, senator from Missouri for one, tweeted yesterday, quote, "Any effort to weaken the Republican Party's commitment to life and marriage would be a mistake." I agree. What are you prepared to do to stop that from coming to fruition, Senator Hawley? You cannot surrender life. You cannot surrender life. It is the issue, the bellwether issue. If you surrender on that, you surrender on everything else, and you deserve to lose if you do. Moving on, after Tropical Storm Beryl slammed into Texas early Monday, knocking out power to nearly 3 million homes and businesses and killing several people, it moved east and weakened to a tropical depression. Tropical Storm Beryl slammed into Texas on Monday, knocking out power to nearly 3 million homes and businesses and unleashing heavy rains that prompted dozens of high water rescues. The fast-moving tempest threatened to carve a harsh path over several more states in coming days. Texas state and local officials warned it could take several days to restore power after Beryl came ashore as a Category 1 hurricane and toppled 10 transmission lines and knocked down trees that took down power lines. Within hours, Beryl had weakened into a tropical storm far less powerful than the Category 5 behemoth that tore a deadly path of destruction through parts of Mexico and the Caribbean last weekend. But the winds and rains of the fast-moving storm were still powerful enough to knock down hundreds of trees that had already been teetering in water-saturated earth and strand dozens of cars on flooded roadways. Bad news for Boeing. Boeing said it will plead guilty to a criminal fraud charge stemming from 2 crashes of 737 MAX jetliners that killed 346 people. It's according to the Justice Department over the weekend. After the government determined the company violated an agreement that had protected it from prosecution for more than 3 years, federal prosecutors gave Boeing the choice last week of entering a guilty plea and paying a fine as part of the sentence or facing a trial from the felony criminal charge, a conspiracy to defraud the United States. Prosecutors accused the American aerospace giant of deceiving regulators who approved the airplane and pilot training requirements for it. The plea deal, which still must receive an approval of federal judges to take effect, calls for Boeing to pay an additional $243.6 million fine. That was the same amount it paid under the 2021 settlement that the Justice Department said the company breached. An independent monitor would be named to oversee Boeing's safety and quality procedures for 3 years. The deal also requires Boeing to invest at least $455 million in its compliance and safety programs. And finally, once more from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was interviewed by radio talk show Eric Metaxas recently. RFK Jr. is fully in the weird category in my mind, but he's weird like Yoda sometimes. Sometimes Yoda is very old and wise, but sometimes you think maybe some worms have eaten Yoda's brain. Here is RFK Jr. talking about a conversation he had with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo regarding the CIA. Listen to this.
I was with Mike Pompeo. Very strange dinner that I had about 2 months ago with Mike Pompeo, Hillary Clinton, Karl Rove, Bill Baer, Boris Johnson, the 5 of us at a table. And really the weirdest dinner I've ever had in my life. But Mike Pompeo said to me, and I never liked Mike Pompeo.
Excuse me, who put this dinner together?
Mike Pompeo said to me, I never liked Mike Pompeo because I thought he's just a warmonger, but
is that true?
I got to like him personally because he's really smart. He's very, very thoughtful. He has a very, very different view of America's role in the world than me, but I thought that he was very sincere and very patriotic. He said to me during that meal, he said, my biggest regret in life is that I did not fix the CIA. And he said, I had an opportunity and I didn't do it. And then he said, the entire upper echelon of that agency are made up of individuals that do not believe in the democratic institutions of the United States of America. My father saw the same thing. My uncle saw the same thing. My father had a plan for fixing the CIA, which I think I know, which is the same plan that will work today, which is to separate the espionage division from the plans division. Espionage we need. That's information gathering and analysis. The plans division is the dirty tricks division. They are assassinating leaders, fixing elections, coup d'etats, all of this stuff that's gotten us into a mess all over the world. And the fact that those two are married, that allows the plans division to spy on us and to control, all of the, control the narrative before and after their actions is really what has made them so dangerous.
Interesting commentary there from Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the maybe wise Yoda there, talking about the Central Intelligence Agency and an interesting dinner he had a couple of months ago with an interesting cast of characters. What do you think about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s plan to dismantle the CIA's power? Do you think that's enough, or does it need to be completely destroyed? Let me know at RealAM Update on X. We'll be back at it again tomorrow. I'm Aaron McIntyre, and this is the AM Update.